Hi there, it's Mare. Just wanting to share with you my latest journal. It's a fairy journal. After I completed the fairy altered file folder, I had mentioned that I was going to do a full-blown fairy journal, and I have. It is more of an art journal where it's highly embellished, thicker pages. There are areas for little cards and such to write memos on and do some journaling spaces on it if you wish to. It is very thick, but I tend to not be able to keep it down. I don't know. My husband's like, I think you should stop now. But you know what? You stop when you feel like it's complete. I just have some little clips here closing it. This is a wire leaf design. A little I Believe in Fairies charm, a little bee. They're just on those ball pins. A little butterfly here. And a little dangle here of beads. It measures approximately 10 inches by, let's see, 8 1/4. 10 by 8 1/4. I used some fabric I purchased off of eBay that I just knew was for the background for this journal. I made a tree trunk textured piece here, a little window here with some pretty film. I bought this image and I just cut her out, made some handmade wings, made this door and put some hinges on it, little knob, little metal knob, and I put some rock around the outside. This opens, and I just made like a little fairy home inside there. Did just a little bit of sketching and some pastels, and that just closes like that. Like I mentioned, it's very thick. It's about 58 pages. And that's the spine. I double stitched it and used some Tyvek in the spine as well. And here's a dangly chunky charm I made. It's pretty chunky anyway. Here's a little butterfly, a little fairy door that it does like pop open a little bit. Let's see if I can get it to do it. Yeah, it's magnetic. Little Swarovski crystal, little fairy on there, fairy charm, some dangles that I made, and a mushroom, a little tree, a little owl with a little fairy thing I made, and a little boho bead. Here we go. So let's look inside. This wire, by the way, you can make it tighter just by winding it up on the other clip or just letting it hang, but there is some adjustment you can do for wherever you're going to put this. This is more of an art journal, I believe. It's really not something that you could actually journal in it day to day, but I think it's great for keeping little mementos and little notes. I do have some areas on there for journaling. So you open it up. Let me get positioned correctly. And I made a little tree. This was some handmade paper that I purchased. It's got great texture. The green, I made it look like maybe a moss-covered tree with a little fairy door. This door does not open. Put some background there and some little artificial leaves there. This I've taken from a salvaged book that I had, a fairy book. I don't have the book any longer, but I bought it, I think, the book for very inexpensive at a little flea market, and it was pretty rough, but these were good. So there's some little cards in there. And then I have a welcome sign, the little fairy charm that I've enhanced the wings somewhat. Little bottle of fairy dust here. Did some stenciling. This is some of my eco-dyeing paper. I thought it turned out pretty good. It's my first time doing that, and I'm very happy with it and have bunches of ideas. However, the weather's not going to be on my side to do more this year since I live in northern Michigan. It's starting to get a little cold at night especially, and the weather will be changing very quickly. Made a little matchbook thing here. Just a little tuck, a little area for some words, some small journaling spaces here. Some sewing done, Edith Holden page. Here's a little booklet I made. I'll continue to make sure I'm in frame. Sorry if that bothers anybody. Here's a little booklet just from journaling, and a little pocket with a ticket. Little pocket here. This was a Stamperia pad. I'll get the name if I can find it, and see if I can put that in the description box. I did eco-dye some of the pages, the Edith Holden pages that were just the words in it, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Area from journaling there, a little rose here. This is some seed paper that I had purchased. You actually can take pieces of it or use, one of your punches and punch out different images and plant them, and it says it's a tree-friendly seed paper. And it says that it will sprout a flower or so, it says. Little mushroom here, 3D sticker. Some stenciling on the back of that. I did also gesso on it. So because this is the textured side of the seed paper, but this is the smooth side. So I did some gesso. So if you want to write on it, it's a little easier to do. Some coffee dyed paper, handmade paper with a leaf. I took a coin envelope and put this little dangle of keys on it. This just is a symbol of like a moon to me. It just seemed that way. Put some wings behind it, made a pocket. This is a little 4-leaf clover that I made. Put that tag in there. This opens up. And I used a stamp for some of these. There's a little fairy here. I did hand draw these trees and some trees in back. Did some pastel work. And that just tucks under the moon. Here's just textured paper that I made with different paints and layering, and that flips up. Did some decoupage here by the hinge. It's just some music paper. Some vintage music paper. Area for journaling here. This did some sewing here and some book pages. I have a little acorn there, embellishment, and a pocket, some stamping. And that has a texture to it. And I added some backing on there. Little booklet I made. It's a leaf. You open it up. It's a little sewn mini booklet. Just can't get away from those miniatures. I worked with them for many years. I love it. Here's a pocket I made here and a tag, handmade tag. This is a house that I created out of an envelope. Put some leaves on here, did some die cut work. Door opens, little fairy in here. It is a pocket. I just put a little piece of journaling paper in here. Here's a nice green area. I thought it would be great for a picture, or you can add some, a little card or something on there. A vintage bird flashcard. And I did some layering here, some stitching, and I love the teal color. Made a pocket here, postcard, a little fairy image there, little tag. Did some decoupage with a napkin here. This is a die cut that I have embellished and put on vellum. This is just a little page that I painted, embellished here. I'd like a little bling with the more earthy things. I just like the combination. Some stamping here. Yeah, a little charm here with a little bell. I embellished the charm so it sparkles a little bit. I don't know if I pick it up in the camera, but this is actually made. I put some textures and layers on it from a paper bag, a paper grocery bag that I had. Did some pastel work here, die cut. There's a pocket. I made a little booklet. Put some things in the spine, little bits and pieces of fabric, and some tape. I love this tape. I use it in some of my other artwork. I put this on Brad's some paper. This flips up. And there's some watercolor paper here that can be done something with. Here's some paper. I put Brad's in here, a little bark piece here that I had, just so in case you finish or fill this up or whoever buys it, they can replenish that. Some decoupage work here. I just made this card, little stamping and some bling on there. And on this side is a little postcard or a little journal card. Did some layering there, some sewing. This is I think it's Precious or the Spring Garden Stamperia. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sorry. And little embellishment here, it says Pixie Post. I cut out a little fairy. There's a little tuck spot here, a little postcard, and a little card here. That can just tuck underneath there. You know what? Does this stuff happen once you get on camera? There we go. Little card, little fairy card. A little pocket here that I made and put some backing on it. Some vintage music paper, some flowers. Here's a little slide that I have that I put some texture on it. And there's some glossy accents on the little insects there. One of my eco-dyed paper, little fairy there. This flips down like this. There's a little eco-dyed card that I did, which the watercolor paper just really seems to pick up the colors really well. That flips out, little area for journaling. This is a decoupaged butterfly, and a little area down here for writing as well. Made this little, set this down now. It's pretty heavy. Here's the center of the first signature. Like I said, I double tied it. And I just put some little charms here. Little paper charm, a little fuzzy. Little fairy house. And a little tree, and a little fairy. Made this out of a die cut. And you open it up. And I cut out a fairy from a fairy tale paper pack. There's some trim here, and there's a little owl there, a little pocket at the top with a little tag. I'll tie that up later. Other side of that paper. Here's some vintage music paper that I have, and I like to try to coincide with whatever theme I'm getting, and this was the Elf and Frolic, so I thought it was super cute. Some more stickers. This is a pocket, and I made this. This is inspired by the Shabby Dabby Doodah on YouTube. She had made some similar to this. Same with Gail and other people. Mine's pretty narrow, and I just used some of that eco-dyed Edith Holden paper. This opens up. Again, some Brads with some paper here. Little washi tape in the center. Little pocket back here with a little little ticket. And I just put that in here. I had to reinforce this because some of that vintage music paper is just very frail and brittle. Here is a little pocket that I made, and I put a little journaling card in there, a little tag. There we go. A couple of tags in here, in this little side pocket. Put some backs on some of them, and that flips up. Some paper, some parchment paper, which I love to use. Made this pocket here, some eyelets and some sari silk. A little card here. Vellum paper. Here's a glassine bag that I Mod Podged, and then I took some ink and ran it over it, and I thought it looked like a texture, almost like a tree. Did some decoupage work with some napkins. And here is from Once Upon a Springtime, just a little bag of tags. And let's stick this stuff in here. Here's a pocket. I made a booklet, put a little paper here. Opens up, little tuck spot there, one of those seed packs, so that can be written on, journaled on. And on the back I covered with some green tissue. It just goes in there. Some more sari silk. Here's a fabric flip. I had this tree fabric that I really liked. Here I did some hand stitching and some stenciling, and this side has a fairy from that same book I salvaged, and this just has some vintage Dewey Decimal library card things, catalog cards. And here is a little pack that's got instructions on how to put some of the seed paper in the ground and see if you can't get something to grow. This is a little tree out of that seed paper and a butterfly. Yep, there's the instructions. And I just stuck that in a little glassine bag. And this is a remittance envelope from Creative Cafe. And I had just did some inking on it, and I did back it. I back a lot of my envelopes and stuff. I just like the look and I like the feel of it. Okay, this side, and here I've made a little tuck spot, another little booklet that flips up. Just some coffee dyed paper in it. Just some collaging. Little die cut envelope. You can take this in and out. Made a little pocket, did some sewing. Here's a 3D sticker, some embellishment. I like a little bling on it. A little flip up, little fairies on here and here. Some fairy tags. And a little blue envelope. There you go. Here's a little tuck spot, some collaging I've done. And there's a little fairy girl I thought was adorable. I purchased this off of Etsy. If anyone is interested to know where I got it, just leave a comment and I'll let you know. I just have to look it up. And this is a big journal, so I didn't want to take the time for each one, but I will, anywhere credit is due, I will definitely put it. Here is some handmade paper, coffee dyed paper, some more stenciling, some more of that seed paper. Edith Holden, I added some stickers and washi. The other side, some more of my eco dyeing paper. It's very thick. And this is just something that I've had. It was a piece of some graphic 45, and it's actually some very thick chipboard that I've put on here with some wires. Whoever gets it needs to be careful with that wire as well. There's a little stamp, a little fairy on some of the eco dyed paper. And this turns over here. And this is just something I painted years ago. And I've taken some of my paintings and taken the canvas off and cut some things off of it. Yes, it is amateur work, clearly, but it's mine. And I think the colors just really went well with this. It can roll up as high as you want, and you can journal or keep something in, underneath it. And I thought that would be cute, and the colors really went good. Here's a little coffee dyed. I tried to coffee dye some print scrapbook paper, which some of it turned out fairly good. Here's just some paper I had with some vintage teal lace. This I painted, did some painting, some decoupage, some gesso. You can write in this area. It says here, I lived beneath the open sky. There's some trees if you can't tell. Here's another one of those trees, which I think I'm going to do a whole book on just the houses. Did I say trees? Houses. I'm going to do a whole book on these little houses. I did put some acetate in here to make a little window out of this envelope. And again, I've put some leaves here, some butterflies, some little leaves in between. That I actually backed with some butterfly paper on the inside of the envelope, some textures here. Put a little tag in there, a little fairy tag that I've had for a long time. I have a collection of them. Little Prima butterfly there. The other side, great space for journaling or pictures. There's just one of my little fairy wings that I've made. This is from an old book page. I loved the colors. Here's another one of those bags that I Mod Podge, so it's nice and thick. And I put the ink on it as well. Some napkins I've decoupaged. And that is a journaling card there. Little area here I put for some journaling. I just could not cover up this little image of this little, looks like a little girl, little boy. It's very cute. Did some embossing here on this envelope. Put some tags, graphic 45 tags here. Here is just a piece of pink parchment paper that's been coffee dyed for some journaling space, and a little flower card here. And I like things sticking out like that for some reason. And here's the little pocket, little corner pocket, does not flip up. A journaling card and a piece of avocado dyed paper. Did some glimmer mist. There is glimmer mist and glitter in certain areas, just to forewarn people. There are people who don't like glitter at all. Here's a little pocket. I made a little bookmark. Oops. Put some sari silk and eyelet. 3D sticker. This little pocket. Here's some of that watercolor paper that I put some glimmer mist on, but you can write on it. And here's a little tag I made from some scrapbook paper. Here's a little vintage flashcard, little trees, a little kite, excuse me, a tuck spot, Edith Holden page. Put a little fairy here. More stenciling, little book page, paper, a little tuck. Oh, I'm going to put something there. And I just sewed around it. Some handmade paper. This one's yellow. Here I put some ribbon strips. I just like a lot of fluff and a lot of embellishment, clearly. Put another one of those Prima butterflies. Little create flashcard. Little pocket I made. She's sewing here. I did some flowers, some layering here, and some texture work. And just a little bit of freehand stuff. A little pocket here with a tag that I've backed and lined. This just reminded me of her creating or mending or sewing, so I did a little section for that. This opens up. This I was doing some designs of some fairy outfits. Let's see if I can get a little closer with that. Some design work on this paper. It's textured. I put a little fairy here, some fuzzy threads. And then on this page would be like the fairy starting to make the dresses. And I have some Tim Holtz wings behind the die cut. And I made the dress here. And then I took this image and just the thought of it inspired fairy wings, which I have made. And again, this is textured paper and pastels, some film and different things that I've used to create that. I also made a more extravagant fairy gown, and a little pocket here holds this, and I have little lights on it. And it's probably not going to show up very well on the camera because it's so bright, but you can see it goes behind the wings, and it's totally portable. I didn't really secure it down that much, just in case you need to change the battery. You can just pop this out, and that goes like that. And you can it just looks like one big blob on camera, but it does show up very well underneath the dress that I made. Put it on a little hanger and a little hook there. And this is some very thick paper, white handmade paper. Open this side up. It's the other signature where I've put a butterfly, a dangle, a little door, and a little handmade bead. Little dangle up here, and I've just tied that on there. A big tag. Did some stenciling there. Some more areas to put some trinkets. Little pocket. ticket there, a little booklet, butterfly here, the other side of that page. Some more Edith Holden, another big tag, gessoed underneath. Here's a flip up here, little tuck spot in the butterfly. It just flips over. Here's another embossed pocket, another one of those flashcards. This is just a big envelope that I've backed with some nice thin green paper, put some glimmer mist on that. The other side, just did some inking. Old book page that I had that really just went well, the colors. Put a little dangle there. And a matching color here. That's one of the, I think it's Tim Holtz, the Believe. And then flip it over. I made another tree trunk here. Put some gesso on here. I just loved the image of the deer. There's just a little bow on this side of the envelope. Some areas for journaling. A little booklet here that I've put these little brads on here that you can obviously replenish. And that just flips over like this. Some of that handmade paper. Backing this paper. Eco-dyed. Back pocket. I made this tag, an alterations tag. Just embellished it. Did some collaging, some sewing, and then I just let it dangle in the back with some areas for journaling. And one of the little envelopes. I can look up where I got that from as well if anyone's interested. That was a digital on Etsy. Let's tuck that back in like that. And here's the back page. Again, I've made the tree trunk look out of that handmade paper and some inking. This is from an old book page that I've taken out and did some background work here and just made some fantasy leaves right there. And then this is the back. And that is it. This will be available in my Etsy shop, again, which is Lilac Pages. If you will, like and comment and subscribe if you're interested to see more work coming up. Now that I've finished that, coming up, I will be working on my Snow White book. It's like, I have this vintage book. It's Little Snowdrop. The pages are so fragile, but I'm going to try to get them copied, and so I can use some of them. It wasn't a complete book. I bought this and definitely salvaged it. Put my own spine in, did a little work here. I'm going to put a nice big thick, dangle on it and some other things on there. Is just my way. And then that's the inside, so it'll be a pretty thick book. But I'm doing the Snow White. I'd like to stay in the fairy tale fantasy realm. That's just what I like. After the Snow White, depending on the time, I have a long list of journals that I want to do. But I think I'm going to dip into my Christmas stuff and make a couple Christmas journals before time runs out on me. All right, well, thanks for watching, and I really appreciate you guys, and have a great day. Thank you.